Hello and welcome to It's All Kicking Off, another football roundtable discussion podcast with myself, Adam Wilbourn, and Andrew Pollard from WhatCulture Football, here to discuss another burning football issue. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Football on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily football podcasts. As I said, though, joined by Andrew Pollard to talk about the burning issue of the day. What is next for Lionel Messi? The breaking news over the weekend that he seems set to leave Barcelona after their thrashing at the hands of Bayern Munich amidst seismic change at Barcelona. This really is the end of an era, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, it's not just a catchy title for a podcast or video. It really could be the end of an era for Barcelona. I mean, the players, when you think of the Barcelona team of the last kind of decade, you think of Carlos Puyol, who's obviously retired. You think of Iniesta, who left to go to China and has since retired. You think of Xavi, who is now managing in Qatar. And you think of probably Sergio Busquets, Lionel Messi, and Gerard Piqué in terms of mainstays of the team. And we're just left with the three of them. And Piqué's already come out and said, look, if you guys want me to go, if I'm part of the problem, I'm happy to do that. Messi seems... If reports are to be believed, he seems like now he's decided that maybe it's the time to look elsewhere. So then they just stuck with Sergio Busquets, who doesn't love him? It's a proper. I think we'll look back on this in a couple of years' time and think this was one of those big moments of change in the history of Barcelona as a football club.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this in the news about the fact we have seen a turnover of talent. The names you mentioned there, you can go back and think of, your Ronaldinhos, your Samuel Eto'os, your Luis Figos and the like back in the day, that they've seen, some of the world's greatest players go through this team. But this does feel like a line in the sand, a real moment in history, as you said. I look back because I thought we've done this topic quite a lot here on WhatCulture Football over the last 12 to 18 months. And there's always been sort of speculation about him potentially leaving and these crazy money offers coming in because of his release clause. And I know speculating about his contract a while back because there was question marks surrounding that. And yet now it seems more definitive than ever that Lionel Messi may not be a Barcelona player next season. Just to clarify, why is this the moment that Messi's decided to go?
It just seems like he's had enough. It's as simple as it sounds. That's as basic as it comes down to. We've seen how he has rightly had a lot of power at that football club for a long time. And when things aren't going right, people have been throwing a lot of stick his way because of the influence he has. Whether it's over managers, we've seen some managers not last as long as maybe they would be afforded an opportunity because Messi hasn't really liked their style of play. Poor Kiki Setien looks set to be the next manager to fall by the wayside because maybe Messi wasn't too keen on his football philosophies. But you also, I think, not just the result against Bayern Munich, the 8-2 humiliation, but just his body language, Leo Messi's body language, where he could not be asked at all. Where there was, because it's hard to keep track of which goal it was. I think it might have been the 6th goal where he kind of gave.
What you're talking about, yeah,
he just kind of gave the ball away in his own half. Bayern Munich carried on with their attack. Messi just turned around and started walking the other way, and it's like, this is the captain of your club. This is the symbol of your football club. I think he, at 33 years of age, what more could he do at that football club? I mean, they've won 6 out of the last 10 La Liga titles, a couple of Champions Leagues you throw in there. He's their all-time top goal scorer with ridiculous stat alert. This is nuts. In La Liga, it's 444 goals in 485 games. In all competitions, 669 goals in 731 games. That's basically... he scores 6 games in a row, then has a game off, then goes and scores 6 in a row. It's nuts. So the guy, he's their all-time top goal scorer with basically double the amount of goals of second place of Cesar. And he's second in their all-time appearances behind Xavi. I think it's only about 30 appearances between them. So, I mean, he's got all these records, all these accolades, all these trophies. So in a footballing sense, if you're Messi, you're thinking, there is nothing more I can do. The only reason I'm here at this football club is to be an icon of this football club. And you might look at, well, Iniesta left, Xavi left. They went and played elsewhere. They didn't have to stay at Barca. At the tail end of their career, they went and tried new ventures and made a lot of money doing it. And maybe he's looking as well at Cristiano of like, well, he's this ongoing debate that is never ever going to end of who's the greatest ever of Ronaldo or Messi. And one of the things that the Ronaldo supporters fall back on is, well, he did it at Man United, he did it at Real Madrid, he's done it at Juventus, whereas Messi's just done it in a Barcelona team that was a very, very good Barcelona team. So, yeah, there's certainly reasons if he did want to go.
Yeah, we heard Gary Lineker, Rio Ferdinand, and Owen Hargreaves talking about Messi's future in between cramming in all the 10 goals of highlights that they had on Friday night about what the future could hold for him. And the speculation is rife now as to what sides could afford him. But before we get into that, we should also point out the fact that if you're trying to make the argument, oh, Barcelona will try anything to make him stay, it's tough because they have to go through some major changes. We talked about this in the news about they have got some great players, Griezmann, Fati, for example. But this isn't going to be a side that will challenge for the Champions League next season. This is a side that may struggle to challenge for La Liga next season. Yeah,
it is. And I mean, they are a mainstay of the top of that division because I said there they've won 6 out of the last 10 La Ligas, and the 4 that they didn't win, they came second. So they're forever thereabouts. And this Barca team, if you're looking at it, I mean, look how great Sevilla looked against Man United. So there's quality in Spain. It's not just Real Madrid or Barca. There's obviously Atletico Madrid. There is quality in that league, and Barcelona, they can't be complacent. They have to realise that, oh, it's okay, it's just been a bit of a blip this year. Like, no, there is wholesale changes. And I think the fact that so many of their players, influential players like Gerard Piqué have been so public in saying how much change needs to happen, I think they can't not address it. And we've heard how now there was a story I was reading this morning after we'd done news where apparently Barca have said that everyone is available apart from 4 players, one of which is Lionel Messi, but the other 3 are Frankie de Jong, Clement Lenglet, and ter Stegen in goal. They're the 4 players that they want to keep, and obviously Ansu Fati and some of the kids coming through. But other than that, anyone in the first team squad, it's kind of right. If you want to go, if somebody wants to come and buy you, we'll let you go. And obviously Griezmann isn't listed in those 4 as well, so that's an interesting one there. And Sergio Busquets isn't listed, which you think he's a lifer there. I don't know if he would leave or where he would go if he did go. But yeah, they're in this weird situation, Barca, where the only way it seems that they could realistically begin the full-scale changes on the pitch to that playing squad is to raise the money that they would get by selling a Leo Messi. I mean, their release clause is astronomical of 635, I think it is, £1 million. But they're not going to be able to hold out for that if they do want to. If all parties involved now think that this is the time where Messi thinks that, yeah, I want to try something new, Barca think, right, you're the only thing we can really sell to bring in enough revenue where we can then apply that to the rest of the squad, they're going to have to take a lot less than that release clause.
Yeah, exactly. Having said that, obviously with his wages and the amount of money that Barca will try and get for him, it rules out quite a few sides. It makes teams like PSG one of the favourites to sign him, and already heavily being linked with potentially signing him. And it strikes me as that's not being the best place for him. Yes, of course, PSG would want to bring in a marquee name. They may have already won the Champions League by the time he joins, but I don't know. Personally, I'm very biased. I obviously like to see him in the Premier League, which is a subject we will get onto in due course, but I don't want to see him go from Barcelona to PSG. What about yourself?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, some people have been dying to see Neymar and Messi back together, but I think everybody thought if that happened, that would be at Barcelona, but maybe it is in Paris. But yeah, I think not to be disrespectful and say it would be a waste of his talents, but in a way, it would be a little bit of a waste of his talents. I think if this monumental shift in football happens where Leo Messi does the unthinkable, or what was once unthinkable, and leaves Barcelona, you want to see him test himself against in a competitive league against properly fully competitive teams, whether it's Serie A, whether even the Bundesliga could be an option, or of course the Premier League. I just think with France, we've seen how easy Neymar can have it at times. It's that there are games when it looks like it is very much men against boys, and then Neymar ends up getting booted around, rolls around a little bit more, complains, and then goes and scores a hat-trick just because he can. So yeah, I think Paris Saint-Germain financially makes all the sense in the world. There is not even a handful of clubs could realistically afford Leo Messi. I think you'd probably be looking at 3 or 4. I'm sure some could maybe pull out all the stops, and if they sold off some of their own players to raise funds, maybe. But realistically, Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, They're the two that jump out, unless there's maybe a move to Qatar. And Inter Milan is a name that keeps circulating and has been circulating for maybe a year or so. And make of it what you will, but Messi and his father have both recently bought properties in Milan. But we're talking about this multimillionaire who's probably got homes all over the globe. So I don't know how much you want to read into that, but yeah, Inter Milan's a really intriguing one for me. I think.
Before we get into Premier League sides and some of those sides you just mentioned there, we should rule out, or try to rule out, or hopefully rule out another side that you alluded to in terms of ones that financially could afford him, but would not be something that fans would like to see. And it strikes me that PSG, if Messi was 35, 36, is more potential for this something to happen. I think, he's still got a couple of sensational years left in him, and he wants to do that in a top league that will challenge him. So I think, or I'd like to think anyway, we can hopefully rule out Al Sadd in Qatar, of course, managed by Xavi, but just that's an end of the career kind of move rather than the last hurrah, although he could go on for 5 more years. Who knows?
Well, that's it. Ronaldo's got a few more years. He's a few years older than Messi, and he's still absolutely tearing it up in Italy. So I mean, Messi still has several years as being one of the best, if not the best footballer in the world, depending on your viewpoint. So to see him go to Al Sadd or Qatar would be a huge shame. You said there about how that very much does seem like the move that somebody make at the very end of their career, like Xavi did. That's what he did. Or when Iniesta went to China, where it was like, right, I've kind of done all I can here. 35 now. I'm going to go and have a year or two making a ridiculous amount of money playing in a really easy league. Yes, I think if Messi went there, that'd be shocking. I think he's just turned 33. I think it was this past June. So you'd think that realistically you're thinking possibly 3 more years. He could be one of the greats still. So to go to Qatar now, that would be just a retirement home move, I think.
And certainly in terms of like international football, he'd want to be testing himself weekly so that he can still be that talisman for Argentina.
Yeah, you'd think that. But then I guess he's probably one of those players where if he's not playing football at all, or he's playing in a really poor league, he'd still get in the Argentina team because he's Leo Messi. It's a weird one with Messi in Argentina, because I think it's twice now he's retired for international duty when things aren't going his way. And maybe that kind of circles back to how things are now, when things aren't going his way at Barcelona and he's just kind of throwing his toys out the pram a little bit, like the 2016 Copa America, where the same thing happened, and he got a little bit of stick because he wasn't playing that well, and Argentina didn't do as well as they were hoped. So like, right, okay, fine, I'm going to retire then, and this could be the equivalent of that, of like, right, fine, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think if he can go somewhere decent and challenging and have a career resurgence like that, like you say, there's a bit in my mind that I was like, has he retired? Has he not? He's never really properly retired for Argentina. I don't think until he stops playing football. Like you say, he walks into that side, whether he's Gareth Bale levels of training or week in, week out, Cristiano Ronaldo style. Let's talk about some of the other sides before we get to the Premier League. Then you mentioned Inter Milan. I've heard Juventus being mentioned. I've heard Real Madrid, which would be the most insane thing, I think, out of everything that could happen. And yet they're all some degrees of plausible.
Yeah, I mean, there we were, ending last week, talking about what Cristiano Ronaldo's been offered to Barcelona, and now here we are starting this week of Lionel Messi to Real Madrid. I mean, that would be the most nuts thing to come out of all of this, I think. So I'd take that one off the table, I think. The Juventus one, I would really hope that didn't happen, just because it'd be nice to see somebody else win Serie A or push Juventus really close. Inter Milan and Atalanta did great jobs last season. But Juve, again, the old lady, which sounds like Wayne Rooney's favourite haunt, the old lady just doing what they do and winning league titles. And even poor Maurizio Sarri got sacked for doing that. So I'd like to see that dominance just broken up a little bit and have something fresh in Italy. And so if Messi went to Juventus, then like, Jesus, man, that would. And if Ronaldo was still there, it's just like, what's the point in anybody else really bothering? I mean, in a dreamer's world, you think that I'd love just to go the Maradona route and go to Napoli and turn around their fortunes, but they wouldn't be able to afford him. And I don't think he'd want to go there, possibly for those comparisons. Inter seems like the obvious one there. I like again, being the romantic. I like the story of going to a slightly lesser club or a fallen giant, as it were, one that hasn't maybe been where that they're used to being. Maybe a Roma, maybe a Lazio. Lazio had a great season, but yeah, something like that. Or Sampdoria to me would be the one, but obviously never going to happen. Or Fiorentina. To on the footsteps of Gabriel Batistuta as a legend there. But I think realistically it comes down to it has to be a big team. It has to be somebody who is either very successful or challenging to be very successful, and they have money. And so that narrows down your options a hell of a lot. Inter's the one I think is the most realistic in Italy. And yeah, just like I said, I'd hope it wouldn't be Juventus.
It could be very interesting if it's Inter Milan. I can't believe you taunted me with my beloved Roma being linked with Lionel Messi. One final stop off before we get to having all the fun with Messi in the Premier League, which is what I think most fans would love to see. He's obviously been linked to a number of South American clubs. Yeah. Yet again, I feel we can rule that out for not only financial reasons, but, yes, the fairy tale of him returning to his boyhood club, for example, is nice, but I'd say that's going to happen in 2, 3, 4 years' time, if it is going to.
Yeah, I think that very much comes into the Qatar situation of, if you're doing that, that's your calling time on your career then, and you maybe have a season, maybe 2 seasons there, and it's in the sense of return to Argentina, it's more of that kind of fairy tale ending, rather than just going for loads of oil money to Qatar. But yeah, I think we could rule that out right now. But again, you never know. He might be thinking, maybe he's getting disillusioned a little bit, not just with Barcelona but with football, and maybe he's thinking that, right, I don't really need any more money. I only want to be doing this for 1 more year, 2 more years. Maybe he does want to go home. You can't really rule it out, but also I am totally ruling it out for now, unless, like I said, unless that is his plan.
Right, let's have some fun with this. This feels like the closest we've ever been to having Lionel Messi in the Premier League. You mentioned Man City. I've seen Man United, and I've looked at the odds. There's Liverpool, there's Chelsea. There's even Leeds in there. Could he come to the Premier League? And if he does, is it only Man City who would really go for him and can afford him?
Without being boring, yes. I'd love to speculate about all the rest, but I can't see it. I can't see past. Surely everybody in the Premier League, everybody in world football would love to take Leo Messi. Just if you look at the brass tacks and the finances and the figures, then Manchester City jump out as the one that can afford him. Obviously, there's Pep Guardiola there. Although after they got dumped out of the Champions League, there was a Pep out kind of thing started trending on Twitter.
Insane that you were telling me as well that Solskjaer out.
Yeah, Ollie out.
Bonkers.
it's nuts. So you don't know what you've had, sort of thing. You don't know what you've got there.
This is coming from a Wrexham and Chesterfield fan. You don't know suffering.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Oh no, you got dumped out of the Europa League, the semi-finals, or you got dumped out of the Champions League at the quarter-finals. Oh, what was you?
This reminds me, Andrew, of a season or 2 ago. My football side, just to go on a bit of a tangent, my football side was under threat of suffering triple relegation, 3-year relegations in 3 seasons. And a lad in the office, who will remain nameless, was moaning about their 3rd choice left back going out on loan. And I thought, you've got it hard, haven't you?
Yeah. That is right now. I feel like the numbers are going up every time we do these videos. Where Wrexham now, we've got 7 players signed on. So we're and one of those is we've got 1 left back. So yeah, I feel sorry for those people with there. They have 3 left backs, and that's probably the 3rd of 6 left backs or something. Yeah. But yeah, it's in terms of the Premier League, you'd think that, I don't know. Part of me thinks that Man United, if they really, really wanted to, they can make that deal happen. I honestly don't think they'd want to. Really, it's just in terms of their model right now and trying to bring in young players, ideally young English players. That seems to be touted around. Obviously, Jadon Sancho is the big one there. But you think United could probably make it happen. Liverpool, I don't think that it would be realistic. I don't think they'd want to break up the 3 they've got there of Mane, of Salah, and of Firmino. Spurs, I don't think they'd be able to afford him. Daniel Levy just probably still wouldn't even finance the deal for Leo Messi if he could, just because I'm not spending more than 30 quid sort of thing. Arsenal again.
There's a bit of me that the romanticist in me would love to see Lionel Messi at Arsenal. What he could do to that football club, but it's not going to happen. But I think I'd love to see something like that.
See, while you're going all gooey-eyed over that, my thing is like, the prospect of Jose managing Leo Messi at Spurs, I went the other way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a bit more of a disaster waiting to happen. But yeah, I think if it comes down to it, just with the fact that Pep Guardiola's there and the fact of the ridiculous money they've got, Manchester City seems the obvious standout of Premier League options for Messi if this all happens.
The Leeds mate of mine is still saying, you never know,
Yeah. He loves Bielsa.
Bielsa, looking after him, getting the best out of him in the Premier League. I should point out for our Newcastle fans that they are listed at the same odds as Leeds, 100-1. So they're still. You're telling me there's a chance of this takeover?
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of takeovers, Chesterfield have just been taken over. We got boatloads of cash now. If he really wants to test himself, come down to the National League and see what you can do down there.
Yeah, a cold Tuesday night in Wrexham. Yeah,
indeed. Yeah. Right, to wrap this whole thing up, I think obviously you and I would love to see him, most importantly of all, in the Premier League. Either way, we're fascinated to see him in a shirt other than Barcelona's.
Yep.
Gun to your head, who do you see him playing for next season?
It's got to be Wrexham. No, Inter Milan. That's where I'm going with this. City seems almost kind of too obvious. And yeah, I think Inter Milan.
I think that's very possible. But I can also see Man City being Man City, and then us sitting here the one that always sticks out in my mind is when Samuel Eto'o went to Russia, and they had that graph on Sky Sports News of he's getting paid 60p a second or something bonkers like that. There's going to be one of those where we work out, in the time it's taken us to record this podcast, how much money Lionel Messi has made.
Don't depress me. Don't depress me.
But yes, do let us know in the comment section below where you think Lionel Messi is going to end up, or if you think he may well still stay at Barcelona, although I think the ship may finally have sailed on that one. But regardless, we will keep you posted, of course, with any developments with this. I'm sure there's going to be reports, speculation, and just scandals all over Twitter for the next few weeks and months. But it's going to be fascinating. We said it before we recorded this. This is like finding out Cristiano Ronaldo was leaving Real Madrid before he went to Juventus, rather than it all just sort of exploding in our face. I think we were about to leave the office when the news came through last year. It was just insane. So very exciting times, and be very interesting whether or not PSG winning the Champions League will affect whether or not they try and sign him. I've just thought of that.
Yeah, maybe. Again, it depends on it. I think all of this comes down to where what the mentality of Leo Messi is right now these days at 33 years of age, having won however many trophies. And is it a case of, do you want to go and really test yourself competitively, or are you just thinking, right, I've earned this really big move. I've earned the mega riches that can come my way, further mega riches by going to Paris Saint-Germain and strolling to Ligue 1. And maybe getting another Champions League. It's kind of, that's like the halfway house between the retirement that would come with going to Qatar or back to Argentina and the big move to an Inter Milan or Manchester City. Paris Saint-Germain's that kind of nice bit in between where you go there, you might not have to play as well as you would if you were playing for Inter or for Man City, but you get paid stupid amounts of money to be there. So,
considering the way my predictions have been going in the last few weeks, he's probably going to sign for RB Leipzig. Is there no chance of him going to Germany, do you think? Munich was mentioned, but I don't see it.
For some reason, it doesn't feel right. I don't know why. Dortmund would be fun. Maybe that's the Jadon Sancho replacement if that move happens. Who knows? But you think Bayern Munich? I'm sure if they really wanted to loosen the purse strings, they could probably get him over there. And I'd say that the German league is more competitive than the French league. As we watch now with two French Champions League semi-finalists, of course, but obviously Bayern Munich are there and probably going to win the whole thing, which means they probably won't now. But no, for some reason I don't see it with Germany. I think with this move, I think he's going to look for the glitz and the glamour of a Paris, of a Milan, maybe in terms of location. But who knows?
If he really wants to make this interesting, I say you can weight it to a certain extent. I'd have a lottery with just like 100 clubs in. So he could end up obviously at Inter or at Juve or at Real, and they're PSG, they're the more obvious ones. But then there's also, for our very own Andy Murray, Aberdeen. And he just doesn't really care how much he gets paid because he's got all the money in the bloody world. But just seeing him play in the SPL, for example, I'm so excited. I will be refreshing my Twitter feed consistently. And to be honest, apologies in advance. This football channel will be nibbling on every possible rumour. But let us know your thoughts where Lionel Messi is going to end up, as I said, in the comment section below or on Twitter at WhatCulture FC. And watch there, you can follow both of us. You can follow Andrew Pollard at
Cultured Left Peg.
You can follow me at Adam Wilbourn, where I'm probably going to post a photo of Lionel Messi in a Roma shirt because I can dream, damn it. A little bit later on today. And you can get daily football podcasts where we'll keep you up to date with all about this as you're out and about on the go by searching for What Culture Football wherever you get your podcasts are on. But for now, this has been It's All Kicking Off. My thanks to Andrew Pollard. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon.